Hi everyone, welcome to channel to share knowledge on comprehensive personal development through books. The book we are going to learn about this week is a very special book called The Ageless Master, Lessons of Nature. The author is naturalist Gary Ferguson. He was born in 1945. Combining recent research in biology, medicine, quantum physics, psychology, and philosophy to teach us 8 great lessons from nature. Reading this book, you will feel like you have a table. Someone's hand leads you into the vastness of nature so you can use your eyes, ears, and heart to experience the lessons that nature wants you to know to help you live a happier life. This is a wonderful work that only someone who has spent his whole life constantly observing the workings of nature can write down. The lessons of wisdom that nature wants to send us will touch your soul, using scientific reason and sincerity that come from Mother Nature. Okay, now let's feel the abundant vitality in a quiet moment with 8 profound lessons from nature. The first lesson: accept the unknown. It is a fact that we are fortunate to live in a wonderful age of science. Would you be excited to know that every day you walk down the street, your feet are in contact with the ground, the electrons on your shoes repel the electrons on the secondary path? This means that, although it feels real, you are not walking on the ground. Instead, you are floating. Why does the author say this? It is to emphasize that the world, and nature, still has many things you do not know. Nature is like the life of each of us, constantly changing and full of wonders that you are not willing to discover all. If you do not understand our relationship with nature, we also cannot grasp the profound meaning of life. Unfortunately, in life many of us only care about how to get promoted, increase our salary and earn a lot of money, limiting our life to material goals without ever thinking about how to truly experience the whole of life through interacting with nature. The author says, first you need to awaken and activate your multisensory senses. Now listen to his feelings when he went deep into the woods behind the Rocky Mountains. Back in the 1970s, when I was free to walk in the wilderness of the Rocky Mountains, I realized I always wanted to stop, close my eyes and listen to the wind. In fact, I had become a person who enjoys the wind. The black pines whisper quietly. The Douglas cedar sighs, making a sound like waves. The leaves of the poplars cry like streams, rustling. The sound of the striped birch trees was different, like a sudden rain falling from the sky. The low bushes on the plains made a stiff rustling sound, standing on the edge of the frozen ground, as if touching the top of the world. I hear the song of the sapphire cedar, the sound of the branch facing the wind being torn off, and the sound of the leaves behind, twisted and entwined. Then I began to nurture my senses by the stream. The air touched my skin, cold and damp. The heat of the sun fell on my eyelids, warm and pleasant. I stroked the old, cracked oak tree with my fingers, touched the trunk of the poplar, and its bark was as if covered with a layer of fine powder. The smell of nature was endless. The American yellow pine tree exudes vanilla scent, the scent of night flowers, mountain rain lasting endlessly, the scent of grasslands after a heavy rain seeping into the heart, roses, 5-colored flowers, dandelion leaves, each with its own distinctive scent. Closing your eyes, the scent hits you, like you're approaching a freshly brewed cup of coffee on a Sunday morning, or a fresh waffle and smell its aroma. When we step into nature, we can activate all our senses, sight, hearing, smell, taste, and touch, to experience the emotions that nature brings to us. However, what is the problem with us humans? Why do we need to learn from nature the ability to accept the unknown? It is because humans have had a primitive categorization obsession. From primitive times, we have been quick to categorize everything. This is useful, that is useless, this is dangerous, that is safe, this person is a friend, that person is a foe, this person is good, that person is bad, this is good, this is bad. This classification helps people reduce the energy that the brain consumes, but its harmful effect is that it makes us easily divide the world into 2 opposing sides. Entering the forest, we often habitually think that deer and eagles are good, and flies and mosquitoes are bad. But in fact, flies are the main pollinators for all plants. In addition, as decomposers, they are truly masters of rebirth. Flies can kill a lot of insects and moth larvae. Therefore, it is not too much to say that flies play an important role in ensuring bountiful harvests around the world. Next, look at mosquitoes. They are feeding thousands of other creatures like fish, lizards, birds, and salamanders. But what about us? We have to slap when a mosquito lands on our skin, kill a fly when it touches your sweet cake. Hummingbirds are good, buzzards are bad, squirrels and mice are cute, big mice are scary. We have such discriminatory thinking. But when you look closely at the great work of nature, you will realize that this distinction is completely absurd. People assume that all species must have males and females, male and female. However, most plants are hermaphrodites. Even many species of fish, jellyfish, and clams can arbitrarily change their gender based on the needs of the herd. Because we use dualistic thinking to differentiate everything, it is just like adding another brick to the wall separating us from nature, preventing us from truly experiencing a wonderful life. Therefore, the best way to gradually break this dichotomy is to try to spend more time immersing ourselves in nature. Each time sitting by the river listening to the wind blowing or the birds singing, we have the opportunity to get closer to our true nature, with the profound lessons that nature can teach us. When you observe and interact with nature, nature will also slowly reveal its profound wisdom, so that you can start by learning to accept the unknown, which can reduce discrimination, the prejudices in daily life, escape dualistic thinking to view all problems, no longer simply seek pleasure, avoid pain, desire success, and fear failure. You will realize that every up and down is an inseparable part of this life. Okay, above is all of the first lesson from nature. The second lesson, interdependence. In the past, we used to think that the evolution of mankind had to follow the law of the big fish eats the small fish, where survival was only for the fittest, through fighting to the end. From this perspective, modern society has formed a deep-rooted belief that only those who constantly strive to become stronger and superior to others can survive and prosper. However, reality shows that the nature of life is not simply competition but also cooperation, symbiosis, and interdependence. Humans think they are the most intelligent species on this planet, but in fact, plants also have a wisdom we cannot imagine. For example, if you are walking in a large forest and see a young tree growing among tall trees, it is being blocked from the light by the large trees. You might wonder if this sapling will die from lack of sunlight. But this worry is unnecessary, because the trees in the forest are interwoven, and their roots are connected by another living thing, which is fungi. Since millions of years ago, trees and fungi have depended on each other, maintaining a close evolutionary relationship of mutual benefit. Fungi grow under large trees, inserting thin, thread-like tubular tendrils into the roots of the trees, absorbing the sugar produced by the tree through photosynthesis. Once the fungus expands its network in the tree's root system, it will begin its protective role. If the young tree is not getting light, the fungus will send messages to stronger trees to transfer excess carbon and necessary nutrients. This process is completed underground, so the young tree will not die, and can safely grow stronger. For millions of years, trees have never competed with each other, but only cooperated closely to grow as a community. It is worth noting that plants also consider humans to be a member of it. When we go to places with plants, plants will release an antibacterial compound, phytoncides. Although we cannot see it with the naked eye, it mixes into our breath. After reaching the lungs, this compound will follow the nerve cells into the body's arteries, helping to reduce the risk of high blood pressure and cardiovascular disease. Another part of it will combine with lymph nodes, quickly improving the function of the human immune system. The remaining part of this compound will be sent to vital organs to improve various functions. Plants have always given us the best things. But greedy humans have stopped at nothing to cut down trees and destroy forests in order to make personal profits. We must always remember a saying in the book that the fewer trees people live near, the greater the risk of disease and death. The author especially admires Thich Nhat Hanh. When the Zen master gave a lecture at Plum Village, he held up a piece of paper and said, "Look closely at this piece of paper. You can see the white clouds, you can see the stream, you can see the trees. You can also see the loggers, the bread they ate, the barley that was rooted, and the machines that were used to plant them all. All of that comes together to form a white piece of paper. Therefore, it can be said that you see the whole world from this piece of paper." This is the teaching of Thich Nhat Hanh. He believes that the world of all things, all of us are connected and interdependent. However, some people might wonder, that is the case with plants, But animals are different. We still see animals always attacking each other, and in the end only the strongest can survive. The author says that it is not really like that. Take Per David's deer as an example. During the mating season, the males will fight and headbutt each other, but the strongest is not necessarily the one who wins by normal mating. On the contrary, the strongest will die, because the ones that are too strong are very aggressive. They almost go crazy and attack non-stop. In the paths in the forests of America, you often see many scattered deer corpses. The stronger the deer, the more likely they are to go crazy. They crash into cars. Therefore, in the end, the strongest cannot survive. Only the deer who know how to restrain their hot heads and quickly mate peacefully can survive longer. Moreover, it is not only in the animal world. In physics, the scientific community has also taken 100 years to eliminate deeply rooted theories that our world needs to be divided into opposites. The most important experiment here is the double-slit interference experiment, which is called wave-particle duality, meaning that this beam of light has both wave and particle properties depending on how you want to observe it. Scientists have shown that we cannot clearly distinguish what is completely ours, what is uniquely ours, what is not ours. We also cannot distinguish what belongs completely to turtles, what belongs to zebras, and what belongs to fungi. Simply put, the relationship between us and nature is I am in you and you are in me. Everything is interdependent. Between people, it's the same. Therefore, in the relationships between people, the core rule of life is never the survival of the strongest, selfish gain, oppressing the weak, but the understanding that to live in peace, prosperity, and happiness, we must develop a heart of generosity, compassion, selflessness, and be always ready to support each other, living with a spirit of I for you, and you for me, together building a life of cooperation and symbiosis. Towards nature, we need to cultivate a heart of respect and gratitude. You protect nature, nature will bring miracles to your life. Let's start with the smallest things in daily life, such as limiting the use of plastic bags, chopsticks, spoons, and disposable plastic products, instead choosing environmentally friendly bags, using your own chopsticks and spoons when ordering food outside. When eating at a restaurant, eat all your food and do not hesitate to bring the leftovers home. For short distances, prioritize cycling or walking, donating old clothes, utilizing recyclable items, saving electricity and water, planting trees, or donating to reputable organizations for tree planting are effective ways to contribute to protecting the environment. We need to engrave one thing in mind, that nature and we are unified as one, an inseparable part of you and me. Protecting the environment is not primarily for anyone else, but for yourself. Like the famous American poet and writer Walt Whitman advised everyone, people should walk more in nature, where there are forests or flower gardens, sit for a while and meditate with the silent companions from nature. If you are tired of life, work, love, relationships, and find that in these things nothing lasts forever, nor is there anything that can bring you true happiness, then the only thing that remains with you is always nature. The author believes that nature has the ability to help a person escape from their egocentricity. Have you ever tried hiking in nature? Some people have gone a lot, but what they care about is not really nature. They pay attention to the watch on their wrist, to the map of how far they have gone, to the pictures taken in nature to make them beautiful and pleasing. In fact, what they care about is only expressing themselves. So, if you have the opportunity, spend more time in life to truly feel and become one with nature, the soft shapes of the valleys, the delicate colors of plants, the elegant swimming postures of schools of fish, and the scent of musk that has inspired you, forgetting yourself. Okay, above is the second lesson about the unity of all things. All are interdependent. The third lesson, embrace diversity. Have you ever wondered why nature needs to have so many different species? If you pay attention, you will see that when crops have droughts or epidemics, some plants will die, but there will definitely be species that survive. And as long as there are some animal and plant species left, the entire ecosystem will survive. This is nature's reasonable regulation. What does that mean? It means that nature has great wisdom, always having space to bounce back through the diversity of species. And in each species there is diversity in behavior and personality. The more diversity, the stronger its vitality. This is also reflected in human life with the truth that if we move away from diversity, then your fragility will become more and more serious. Resilience, resistance to adversity, overcoming challenges, are core capabilities that each person needs in life. What is resilience? If you hear this concept for the first time, you can learn more in the video of the book that I linked on the screen. Here, I will take a simple example, which is that if you only have one source of income and do not plan to create any other source of income for yourself, then this is also a lack of resilience. Or, if you only focus on developing one skill to serve a certain profession, then there is also fragility for your future. Or if you only like to read one type of book, then in the long term, it is like constantly hypnotizing yourself, making your thinking isolated, one-sided, and going in one direction. The author says that he has participated in some psychological studies and discovered that, for example, in a Western jury system, if there are both white and black people, the accuracy of their judgments is much higher than in cases where there are only black people or only white people. And in academic writing groups, if the group has a diverse background, then the rate of cited articles will also be higher and reach a higher degree of reliability. The philosopher Francis Bacon once said, "It is true that when something becomes widespread too quickly, it becomes dangerous. If we too easily reach a consensus, then that will harm ourselves." People think they are ready to open their arms to accept the establishment of some kind of community, but in reality they fall into the trap of trying to make everyone the same. The current universal education system also has its limits. People love their own culture and want others to be like them. Assimilation is the tragedy of mankind. That is why the world distinguishes between great and small nations, and discriminates based on race, skin color, and noble or humble origins, etc. Tragedy will occur when diversity is not respected, superiority rises, and a kind of weapon is formed in people's hearts that can arbitrarily harm others. In a broader sense, diversity includes racial diversity and species diversity. In a more specific sense, diversity comes from within our families, offices, schools, etc. And here, we need to know that we should not try to wish for and force others to be a version of ourselves. For example, if you do not like someone, do not like something, and rush to a keyboard and freely write unkind words, it is simply because you see that others are not like you, have different views from you, and do not meet your needs. At this time, the superiority in you does not allow others to have different views. Bias covers over the heart that needs to accept the diversity of life. If that's the case, then in the end, this will turn into a tragedy in your life. So, if possible, from now on, when you go out on the street, pay a little more attention to the wonderful diversity of nature. This will remind you of lesson number 3 from nature: respect diversity, eliminate biases, and embrace differences. The 4th lesson: gender equality on the prairie. In the dry season in areas where elephant herds live, if there is no water, they will have to decide to migrate far away. But each move will cost a lot of energy and danger. People have observed that if an elephant herd is led by a female elephant, it is usually safer. However, the older the female elephant, the more valuable her tusks are, so she is often hunted by humans. This is a heartbreaking phenomenon. Back to the leadership role of females, as with other animals, they do not simply have the responsibility to reproduce, but can maintain complex relationships related to life and death. When compared to males, females are often better at bonding and cooperating with others. The history of mankind also proves that ancient cultures had myths about goddesses. In Vietnam, people especially worship the mother goddesses. In Western culture, there is the goddess Gaia, who is Mother Earth. Lao Tzu in the Tao Te Ching also taught, "Know the strength of masculinity, but protect the position of femininity to be like a valley that can accommodate everything." When we let nature lead the way, we will see that only by truly bringing women back to their rightful position of equality with men can we grasp both inside and out, living a life full of vitality and health. The 5th lesson: respect animals. Have you ever witnessed a dog feeling so sad that it cried, or a kitten cuddling into your lap like a child? At these times, many people think that animals also have feelings like humans, but in fact, it is not animals who are learning from us, but we are learning from animals. This is the view of an American elder who taught the author. Humans appeared later than animals. To be exact, we are learning many rich emotions from animals. The alpha wolf, when old and weak, walking slower, unable to hunt, and often not being able to eat, will not be bullied by the young wolves in the pack, but on the contrary, will always receive respect. The young wolves who hunt prey will tear it apart for the old wolf to eat the internal organs and meat of the prey directly and easily. Scientists observed that when the old wolf died, its wife also disappeared. They hurried to find her and discovered that the female wolf was trying to run, the farther the better. Each time she stopped, she would howl, then keep running. She kept running like that only because she was too sad about her husband's passing. At a center in Tennessee, a sanctuary for elephants, the author witnessed a 34-year-old elephant named Tina die. And Tina's friends came over, touching her body with their trunks. After Tina was buried, it was found that normally, elephants keep their distance from each other, but when attending the funeral, they did not hesitate to stand shoulder to shoulder and look intently at Tina's grave. Her best friend, S, put a tire, a favorite toy of Tina's when she was alive, on her grave. Animals have very rich emotions, and they have their own language. However, mankind is too arrogant and thinks that animals are inanimate and mindless. Whales and dolphins have up to 20 types of calls and behaviors. They have unique whistles to introduce themselves. Many kinds of animals have surprising intelligence. For example, elephants are very calm, steady, and united. They have a very long memory. Many events can be remembered throughout their lives. The neural connections in an elephant's brain are more complex than those of humans, so they are not easily agitated. Crows' emotions can understand cause and effect. And dogs can solve simple arithmetic problems, etc. Respecting animals and recognizing the relationship between humans and animals can bring peace to our souls. Just watching birds search for food, looking into a dog's eyes, or stroking a kitten's ears, all of this is a sacred connection between us and animals. Have you ever fed a stray cat? If you have, you will realize that if a cat trusts you, it will be willing to stay by your side, eating what you give, and you will feel very happy. This feeling of joy will stimulate your body to secrete endorphins, making you feel love. They are very beneficial and good for your health. Therefore, humans and animals should have more connections. But what exactly does respecting animals mean? It means that we must nurture love for all creatures. This love does not mean just saving one species, but saving all species: wolves, elephants, dolphins, along with ducks, cows, pigs, etc. All of this can show us the way, guiding you to live a better and more blessed life. The sixth lesson: learn to work efficiently from nature. We always think that humans value efficiency the most, but nature is much more efficient than us. The amount of energy the sun uses to reach the earth in 1.5 hours is equivalent to all the energy from other sources, such as oil, coal, and wind power, combined that humans use each year. Every leaf on a tree is so finely tuned that subatomic particles, particles much smaller than atoms, can absorb as much sunlight as possible. Every living thing functions efficiently. This efficiency makes physicists and architects admire nature. In fact, our advanced technology also mimics the efficiency of living things, such as high-speed trains, water purifiers, and wind power stations, etc. Have you ever wondered why the honeycomb is designed as a hexagon? It is to both save energy and create the largest possible interior space. How bees can know this is unclear, but we must admit that nature is truly wonderful and intelligent. So, what can we learn from nature to live and work more effectively? It all comes down to three keywords: harmony, balance, and rhythm. Harmony means letting things be natural, not opposing them, not resisting them. A migrating goose will not fly against the wind and exhaust itself, but will fold its wings and wait for better weather. Balance is the balance between energy going in and out. Look at how many animals, after eating a full meal, start moving. It will activate every cell in the body to use energy and regain balance. Finally, there is rhythm, like how many animals follow the cycle of each season, each day to work, rest, and recover best. This is also equivalent to a high level of discipline. Note that the core purpose of applying these three elements to life is to help us avoid working ineffectively, wasting time, and being able to save energy for the right things. Observe sloths hanging upside down on trees. They do it just to avoid losing energy, like when they have to balance with their heads up. They do not want to hunt, so they only eat leaves. They lower their body temperature to reduce their need for calories. They do everything slowly. If you have ever seen the movie Zootopia, you will see that every movement of the sloth employees is so slow that it makes people impatient. That is why they are called sloths, but in fact, their actions and the results of their evolution are to save energy. Unlike monkeys who are busy all day, jumping up and down, so they have to eat a lot, eating everything, they are greedy, often stealing from each other, and even go to where people live to steal food. So people also need to learn to save energy intelligently from nature. The author has given us advice here. First, let go of obsessions. Do not overthink. Do not overthink. Confused emotions or anger make a person consume a lot of energy and become weak. If you do not know what to do at this time, you can contact nature. Nature will help you reduce stress. Like me, when I am too tired from writing, I will walk for a while under the green trees. When I return to work, I will feel more refreshed and be able to continue working efficiently. Immersing yourself in nature can really help restart your senses, your consciousness, and make you more focused. Finally, give up greed. To work effectively, we need to be able to cooperate with others, but people when working with others often only think about their own benefits and want to get more for themselves. This will only cause us to sooner or later experience failure. The core motivation for being willing to give up greed actually comes from gratitude. When you work and live with appreciation for those around you, you will find that everything in life goes smoother. Like the saying, a person who is kind to others is also kind to himself. This point is also the core point of the law of universal unity and interdependence that we discussed above, and it permeates throughout the other lessons. You will realize that this is the highest wisdom of the universe. The 7th lesson, rebirth from the fire. Nature is always prepared for life in despair. It can not only be reborn from the ashes, but also regain prosperity after a disaster. Over thousands of years, plants, insects, birds, and animals have learned these skills to survive and thrive from natural disasters. When a fire occurs, American yellow pines are always ready to face it. The lower branches will continuously fall off to prevent the fire from spreading to other canopies. The wide spacing between mature trees not only helps to store water but also limits the spread of fire. When a fire actually occurs, the seeds of the American black pine can sprout from cones that have cracked open due to the fire. They become the first trees to grow from the ashes after being burned by fire. The nutrients stored in the trees and the soil mix with the ashes, creating an incredibly fertile layer of soil that helps trees grow taller, mushrooms grow larger, and moss grow thicker. That is the power of nature, an incredible power. As for us, some people in life cannot recover after a blow. Why is that? It is because we are too obsessed with the desire to be safe forever. We always hope that our lives will be smooth, hope that fate will not bring any disasters. If by chance something unexpected happens, then we must quickly extinguish it, so we can be safe and move forward. If we cannot put it out, we just keep running away. But the author believes that if life does not have challenges that burst forth, we will not be able to develop a higher degree of resilience. The challenges in life are there to help you not only develop resilience but also develop many other hidden abilities. Preventing too much potential risk is also preventing your own outstanding development. So be like nature. Accept all events with preparation and without fear. To do this, first you must do well in lesson number 2, having no discrimination by loving peace, but also loving and accepting the difficulties. Nature can be reborn from the fire because it constantly accumulates abundance every day. When events happen, we can also learn to gradually recover like nature. Remember that the most natural things are the fastest source of healing for us. Eating healthy, meditation, mindfulness, outdoor exercise, immersing ourselves in and feeling nature. Nature can help you readjust the rhythm of life, bringing you back to balance and harmony. Okay, we have come to the last lesson. The 8th lesson, learn value from the elders. In every tribe, elders are very wise and can teach values of life to everyone. With nature, too, old plants and animals are like great rulers. For example, old trees always have a way to detect which young plants need nutrition and which young plants need light. In the animal world, if a herd loses its elders, they will become chaotic. The author once witnessed an elephant herd that, without an elder leading them for 10 years, became a gang, killing more than 100 rhinos. You will see that 100-year-old trees still preserve many secrets of nature. People can rely on them to understand the climate situation 1,000 years ago, and also be able to calculate the amount of fog in the summer, analyze long-term trends of ocean currents better, thereby understanding the impact of human activities on climate change. The author has a friend who is a 102-year-old neighbor. It can be said that she was like a bright light in the author's growing up process. Before the pressure of poverty and abuse, she was forced to focus on developing survival skills, but she transferred this focus to nature. She uses the peace and beauty found in nature to enrich herself. Nature has inspired her to continue moving forward. Nature also constantly nurtures her gratitude. Every spring, she watched the new shoots grow in her backyard. The long, warm summer gave her more energy. She shone in the author's eyes, because nature told her that she should become that kind of person. She passed away peacefully at the age of 102 and left profound life principles in the author's heart. She helped him resist the temptations of life. She said, "Do not be immersed in your own script, learn to observe and understand yourself." This is the value that the elderly bring to us. If you pay attention, you will see that Better Version introduces quite a few books written by the elderly, including the book The Heart by the Japanese business tycoon Inamori Kazuo, written when he was 90 years old, Mr. Hinohara, author of the book Living Well, who lived to be 106 years old, and the book The Almanac by the great investor Charlie Munger, who lived to be 99 years old. And recently, it's the valuable book Worthwhile Human Life by the oldest psychologist in Japan, Ms. Nakamura, born in 1929. These venerable old men and women all have one thing in common: their early lives were full of thorns and storms, but in the end, with their own thinking, wisdom, and ability, they all could live rich, prosperous, and happy lives. Perhaps you will not be surprised that in the near future I may continue to introduce more books from other wise elders. I hope we all can learn many things from the experiences and essence that they have summarized and left for the world. Finally, to conclude today's sharing, I will quote a few very beautiful and profound words from the author. Beauty is within reach, just reach out and touch it. On a summer afternoon, standing under an old maple tree, when you suddenly realize that there is nothing to do, no problems to solve, no plans to make, just sunlight, shade, and the sound of the wind blowing through the leaves, you will feel the beauty. This is a relaxed and unique conversation. You exhale nutrients for the tree responds to you with the necessary oxygen. The world is rewarding you, and you are also rewarding the world. Given the warnings from natural disasters, epidemics, and unusual changes in nature today, I hope that we can deeply realize the importance of respecting nature, which is also respecting our own lives. Finally, let the valuable lessons from nature become the lighthouse guiding you to live a more meaningful life. Thank you for listening. If you find this video useful, please share it with those in need. Give me a like, press the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell to watch the latest videos every week. Once again, thank you all and see you in the next videos.